Greetings, citizens of YouTube. Crad here. In this video I'm going to talk to you about my pimped Spyderco Southard. The work on this knife was done by Nathawat, very talented machinist out of Thailand. And he did some really incredible work on this for me. So I had scraps of superconductor material left over from my Superconductor lightning strike carbon fiber super Roadhouse. I'll put a link to that video in the description. And there wasn't a whole lot that I thought could be done with this. Out of the knives that I own, the only one that I could see the size of material that I had left working on was this Spyderco Southard. And I'm pretty happy that I decided to go that route. So I sent this superconductor material and knife to Nath, along with some specifics on what I wanted to see out of the knife. And this is what he sent back to me. It is a beauty. So I'll go over some of the details as to what he did here. He removed the steel liner and brown, coyote brown or khaki or whatever you want to call it, G10 scale that the knife had, and replaced it with a single huge slab of titanium. He milled or ground or whatever. He removed material, he removed stock here, and inlaid the superconductor material. And I think this is pretty genius what he did here. So it was just a necessity based on the material that I sent him. It wasn't going to be quite enough to cover this area. So he machined both sides down to match and give it a design aesthetic as though it was always intended to be that way. And I think it came out more interesting looking for it. And then he drilled holes in the titanium slab. First a small one, then a larger one. He blasted the inside hole, and then he polished the chamfer of the outside hole, giving it a very cool look. He removed the rattly little tube for the lanyard hole there. I think it's much better without that tube. I know a lot of people just pull the tube out of their knife, even if they're not having any other changes made. He used a second smaller piece of... So on this side you can tell that he left the original frame lock from Spyderco, but he contoured the handle to match. Something that I thought would just give the knife an overall much better appearance, and maybe a little bit more comfortable in hand. He replaced this sort of thin, ugly stock clip that came on the knife with a solid titanium clip. He sort of gave it his signature point tip to the clip, and he really did a great job making the design of the clip match the overall aesthetics of the knife. It just really looks and feels quite perfect for the knife's design. He also replaced the over travel stop with another second smaller fragment of superconductor material that I sent him. And he really polished that material up. It really shines. Looks great. On the titanium slab that he made, I wasn't actually sure if he would be willing to make a whole nother scale for this knife, or if he'd want to overlay something on the existing liner, because you see he's had to have milled, I don't know, I'll call it a racetrack here, around the pivot to use Spyderco's version of a caged bearing system. And the original stock Spyderco Southard, at least the one that I had, and I've heard a lot of other people have similar remarks, it didn't really flip that well, especially for being a knife that runs on bearings. It didn't flip as well as comparable knives from other companies. He must have done some work to adjust the detent and the flipping action on this knife. Of course, it's going to make me a liar, but have you tried to flip a knife inside of a light box? So, for the most part, I would say this knife fires much better than a stock one. Much more flawlessly. When I'm not trying to flip it inside of a light box, I can get it to deploy 100% of the time. Something that impressed me, and I didn't realize Nath was going to do this, he actually contoured the superconductor material and the titanium in the same way that the stock Southard is done by Spyderco. Thought that was pretty neat. Put a lot of time and attention to detail in his work on this knife. It really shows. Oh, if only my camera would focus on it so you can see it. Let me know what you thought of the knife, of Nath's work, and if you liked me shooting this video inside a light box. There's a lot of problems with it. It wouldn't really work for anything much larger than this knife, but I wanted to give it a shot. Something new. Thanks for watching.